Google Forms has changed a lot since it was first introduced by Google back in whenever. But now the new Google Forms, or just Google Forms, is really not a new versus old version anymore. Is a teacher's dream. I'm going to show you a few ways that you can actually use Google Forms tomorrow in your classroom, and it's going to save you tons of time, headache, effort. You might even go home relaxed tomorrow. So when you open up Google Forms, you might see something like this. You can also start from Google Drive. Either way, you can get to a new form. So we're just going to start with a blank Google form, and we're going to give it a title. And our title is going to be test form because we are just playing around, and I always call things test things when I play around with them. So our title is test form, and it starts us off with a question. So we can have a question. How are you? Ask any question you want. Over next to where you type the question, you have a drop-down menu. And in that drop-down menu, there's multiple choice, checkbox, drop-down, paragraph, short answer. You can have a linear scale, which is kind of like a Likert scale, 1 to 10, 1 to 5. Multiple choice grid, which is useful in the right situation. A date option where they can actually enter the date, or a time option where they can enter the time. Forms is really good at anticipating what you're going to need in the questions you ask. So if I ask, what is your name, it automatically switches over to short answer text for me. I don't have to select that because it recognizes what is your name is a response that's going to be a text response. Now I can manually override that and do checkboxes if I'm going to put a list of names and just want to, have you select whichever one is you, kind of thing. But you get the gist. Over here on the side, we have add a question. So if I want to add another question, boom, I click it, I got another question. Go from there. If I wanted to add a title and description, so let's say I wanted to have a group of questions about your background up here, and then a group of questions about your neighbor's background. If I'm doing an icebreaker, I can actually just put in that breaker and put in descriptions and delineate between the different questions if I so choose. And if I click that button and I say, you know what, I don't want a title here, I'm going to hit delete, and it goes away. I can also add an image. And I can go from anything in my Google Drive, my Google Photos albums. I can actually use the web camera in my device to take a snapshot by the URL, or I can just upload it. I'll show you what it looks like. Let me upload a picture real quick. We'll just do this one. There we go. So now I have the picture. I can resize it if I need to. I can give it a title if I want. I can align. There's all, I can put that image in there. Now, the image is great, but what if I need a picture as a response? I can do that too. So let me show you how to do that. So I go back up to a question. Let's go back up to this question. And right here at the options, and I can do this for checkboxes, drop downs, or multiple choice. So for option number 1, I want to make it a picture. So I can upload any picture I want. Let's just say the answer is Chromecast. So now option 1 is a picture of a Chromecast. This would be perfect for biology lessons, anything that has to do with visual stuff. If you're teaching music appreciation and which one's a guitar, which one's a violin, whatever your lesson may lend itself to. I'm trying to think of an English one. Obviously, social studies, it would be full of these. Math, which equation is the correct equation. The sky's the limit. Also, so we've got pictures as answers. We can do video as well. And right now it's just YouTube video, but supposedly they're coming with video that you've uploaded to Google Drive real soon. I've heard rumors that it's already available, although I'm not seeing it here, so I'm going to have to assume it's not quite there yet. But you could actually upload a video and then ask some questions about that video. So your students would go to one page, your Google form, watch the video, and then answer questions about that video, all right there together. Now, once you've made your form and shared it with your students, you can quickly go over to the responses now. It's going to be here, and it's going to be broken down into individual responses and as a whole response. And it'll give you pie charts and graphs and tables and all kinds of data that's easy to look at and immediately available to you. I'll show you some of those in a little bit. You can also go back and create the spreadsheet like you used to have with Google Forms. Or if you're not familiar with that, actually go and create a spreadsheet so all your data goes into a spreadsheet where you can sort it, filter it, do what you need to it. All right, so that is the basics of what you see when you get to Google Forms. You can click the little color palette button and change the colors. You can actually do custom images if you want to get fancy with it. We'll make jelly beans. So if we select jelly beans, now our background loads the jelly bean theme. You can do custom ones as well if you have a picture of your class or a picture of a lab or a picture of a Shakespeare work or something you want up here. You can do that as well. Preview, we'll come to that in a second, but settings is the real biggie that teachers currently love. You can collect email addresses, so you don't have to ask for their name. If you collect email addresses, it forces them to log into their Google account. So if your district or your school has Google Apps for Education, or you just require your students to have a Gmail account, either way, they have to be logged into their browser in order to take the form. So you collect email addresses, you automatically know who took this particular quiz, filled out this form, whatever. You can, once you do that, you can then limit it to one response. So one email address can answer one time. You can also say that they can edit after the response. I typically don't use that feature. And see summary charts and text responses. I typically don't use that feature either unless I'm doing something where I want peer feedback and that kind of thing. The presentation tab, it's not you giving a presentation, it's how you want Google Forms to present itself to your audience. To show a progress bar, that's always kind of a nice thing, especially if it's a longer form. Shuffle question order. If you're making this a quiz, that's an awesome option. And then you can put a custom comment down here. Thank you for taking my survey. You could put a web link there. You could put your email address there. You could put a phone number there. Whatever you want as the thank you for doing this, we have your response kind of page. And then the quizzes. This is the really new feature that I think is amazing, because you used to have to use like add-ons and stuff like that to do what is now built in. So if you click on quizzes, make this a quiz, you can tell it to immediately release the grades after the submission. So it immediately grades it and immediately tells the student what their grade is, or later. So that way you can go through it, make sure everything's right, and then release the grades. So, however you want to do that. And then you can say what they can see and what they cannot see. So once the grades are released, right now the respondents can see the missed questions, the correct answer, and the point value. Usually I'll take that correct answer off. Just because if you have that one absent student, or first block takes it and then third block is going to take the exact same one because you shuffled your question order so they think it's different. You know how students are. I take that correct answers off. I'll show them which ones they miss. I'll show them the point values, and then we can go over it as a class, or I'll present the correct information to them in a different way. I typically don't want to give them the electronic correct answer, just to kind of cut down on cheating a little bit. So if we click save here, we've made this a quiz. Now let's make a new question, and I'll show you what that looks like. What is 1 plus 1? Now we have multiple choice. Let's make that a short answer. And we're going to go to answer key. Correct answer is 2. Exact matches will be marked correct. Other responses will need to be manually graded. So this is an example of a short answer automatically graded. I know you've seen multiple choice automatically graded and checkbox automatically graded. This one will do those as well as short answers. Now, If it's a short answer, it needs to be 1+1, or how do you spell? Because it will count off if the spelling's wrong. It will count off if you put an equivalent answer, but not the exact answer the teacher wanted. So just be careful of that. And then for the points, let's make this worth 5 points. And so we can go back and edit the question. There is no save on this. It's just like all other Google products. There's no save except for Google Sites, but that's a totally different animal. There's no save. Once you've made an addition, a change, it automatically saves for you. Now, if we go back and we say, no, we're going to make this multiple choice. So I can go in here and do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to go into my answer key and I'm going to mark this one as the correct one, and then I'm done. And so now when students answer this question, it's going to automatically grade it for them. To give this quiz to your students, this is the tricky part. If you click this send button, you're going to have to be real careful. What I like to tell teachers is if you hit send, click the little link button right here. And this is what you want. And a lot of times I'll do the shortened URL, and then I can just copy this and then go into Google Classroom and paste the link. But actually, if you make it in Forms, you go into Google Classroom, you can use this from your drive. I will link below in the description of this video to a Google Classroom video that I've already made that talks about how to link from your Google Drive files into Classroom. It's a real good overview for Classroom. But I typically will do this. I'll do the link, and then I'll share that link out with the students, however I usually share out stuff with the students. Because when you do the emails, depending on your district, if they use Gmail, if they don't use Gmail, if students get blocked from certain things, funny things can happen. But if you have a way that you typically share information, links, documents, that kind of thing with your students, I would strongly suggest using that. And that way you just grab this link, give them that link however your classroom management style is, and then you can go from there. You could also tweet it out, put it on Facebook if you had a class Facebook. This is a great way to get in touch with parents as well, because this will work on your cell phone as well as any other computer, internet connected device in the world. And so, you may not be able to get in touch with the parents, but you may have an email address for them. Or honestly, it's 2017. You may have a Twitter address for your parents. You could get an interest survey or some other kind of questionnaire or documentation to your parents, through social media, and this integrates with Facebook, Google Plus, and Twitter. So that is Google Forms in a nutshell. Get in and play with it. Seriously, I could go on and spend 30 minutes talking about it, but if you don't just get in there and make some forms and take a look at it, it's gonna still be kind of daunting if you've never done it before. Now let me show you what it looks like when you have some responses. So this is a form that I've previously used, and so I'll go in and I got 73 responses. It tells me that, and I can go in and look at my summary, and it gives me the summary for the first question, the second question, the third question, fourth question, all that kind of stuff. Now, this was for a 5K, 10K, and half marathon race registration form. So I see that 64% are signed up for the 10K and 35% are signed up for the half marathon. T-shirt sizes, 35% small, 31% medium, 24% large, and 8% extra large, with 0 at the 2X size. So it kind of breaks it down real easy for you like that. And then also you can go over to a spreadsheet by clicking that little spreadsheet button and see everything in a spreadsheet. So that's Google Forms. I hope you learned something. I hope you will use Google Forms. And if you have any suggestions about Google Forms that you think Google should make an addition to, or you'd like to see a change, there's always the feedback button. Please use the feedback button, because Google does read it. Every Friday, they sit down and an actual human being reads the feedback on their products. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new videos, new updates. There will be a podcast coming soon. When that happens, I'll announce it. Hope you subscribe to that as well. And have a great summer.